All right, we're back. Episode 6.
6.
Lucky number 6.
So far we put together 5 puzzle pieces, and it's only taken us like a couple hours.
I know.
We're pretty good at
We're
this.
just flying through this. This is easy stuff. But it has been a few weeks since we've seen you. A few weeks since your last confession. So, what's happened in the last 2 weeks? Do you have any dirty laundry you need to air out? Things that we should know about you? Done a
Divine
lot
revelations.
of, yeah.
Father, I've sinned, and I have to confess, I ate 3 chocolate bars yesterday.
So, like,
That bad?
were you going through this and you're like, wow, this would be easier if I was just a drug dealer?
No,
Like,
that thought
like,
never crossed my mind.
no?
That's a
But
thing.
thank
So
you
like
for
growing
the
up,
suggestion.
right? I thought I'd either be a pastor or a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Or pastor. I don't know. And
Similar skill sets.
yeah.
Both dealing
Yeah.
with people.
okay, so
okay.
with Myers-Briggs, I've looked this up, and Adolf Hitler and Jesus Christ, same personality types, totally different outcomes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mustache.
Good call.
Yeah, Jesus.
don't-
Yeah.
Jesus probably had a more
Probably had a
full,
better
solid
mustache
stash. Yeah.
than Hitler did.
So we're putting pieces together here, right? And so we're at this part where we're kind of taking we have one big piece we haven't talked about, which is really kind of the passion side of it. We've touched on it, we haven't really talked about it. So we're going to talk about that. But it's a good time to like take a step back and look at kind of the big picture. So seriously, you're going through all this. You're the one like going through the exercises, right?
You look like you're about to spring something on me.
Right now.
You got this look in your eye.
He already asked you to confess your sins.
I
mean,
did.
it can't get worse.
I did. So, but when you're going through this, are you like, golly, I really hate me, or are you looking at this and be like, wow, I'm cooler than I thought?
Yeah, generally, I'm cooler than I thought.
It's got an optimistic
I mean,
outlook.
like I knew I was this cool. Like I am just so cool, but maybe a little bit more than I thought.
What do you think are what are your most favorite parts about yourself?
Yay! Let's talk about me.
Yeah. Seriously, you're going through this and
Okay,
you're
well,
like,
I've been
all right,
planning this conversation.
if you had to trade things, like, all right, I've got to give up this part of me, this part of me, this part, but I really am going to keep, I really, really like this part of me.
Treasure finding, definitely treasure finding.
Treasure finding.
Goes into every area of my life, not just like I'm gonna go find like some old coins, but like I don't know, anywhere I go, I can look for different rocks because I'm a rock person. Or in people, I can find different characteristics or different things they're interested in or things they might not have realized about themselves. Or in situations, I can find the good instead of the bad that everyone else is looking at. Wow, a meteor just hit us, but hey, I still have coffee. I don't know. There's something positive in something.
Okay,
But-
I like that. I
But
like
I'm definitely
that.
a treasure finder, so.
And it sounds like I have a partner for garage sales now.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I am a garage sailor.
Flea Market Flip. You ever watch that?
No.
Oh,
But
you should.
But I've watched some flip stuff.
You'll love it.
So-
Okay. So you're a treasure finder. You're finding the good, the positive in every situation or person. Give me one more thing you're looking at. You're like, man, I really like
Other
this
than
about
treasure
myself.
finding? Oh, okay.
It's like, God, thank you for designing me this way. I really like this part of my design.
Individualization and like connectedness kind of stuff. How I'm interested in every person, finding out who they are and making things a personalized experience or conversation for them and not just general blanket statements or experiences. Like if I give a gift, I can't give a wedding gift. Here is your wedding gift. It's like if it doesn't mean something to me to give it to you, then I can't give a gift. It has to be personalized. It has to be specific for who I know you to be or what we've known in the past or something we've experienced together or something like that. And so I can't detach person from body.
Yeah.
I like
so
it.
like loving people one-on-one. I mean,
Yeah.
and that goes hand in hand with the treasure finding. I know I have cups, king and queen cups from when Caitlin and I got married that you and Steven gave us. And the note that came with the cup, the hand-drawn note on our fridge.
It's still in your fridge.
Still on our fridge.
I mean, you could have lied and said it was still, and I would never know.
But I didn't have to lie.
Good.
It's there.
Good. Can we get the camera to go to Zach's house and confirm this story, please?
So what do you think? Let's look at this last puzzle piece. Passions. It's not really the last puzzle piece, but the last one we're gonna look at before we try to create a purpose statement here. Given unlimited time, money, resources, right? Knowing this world's a broken place and you can't do everything, but you could put your energy into something, right? What are some things that come to your mind as options? What might you do given unlimited time, money, resources?
And somebody watching this might have a checkbook. They're like ready to write this. So here's your pitch.
Sit on my couch and eating Cheetos is probably not a.
No,
Good option.
I don't think so because I don't know.
You can
how,
write me a check.
Writing a
for
check
that.
for one
I'm
bag
a-
of Cheetos. Dream big.
Yeah.
Dang, should have asked for 3. A couple things come to mind. Definitely strongly a worship leader, like in a lot of settings, but really more large scale worship leader, like conferences, because affecting a crowd and giving them an experience is definitely part of who I am. And you don't exactly do a worship leading experience with one person. That would be, I mean, maybe somebody does, but it would be kind of weird. So definitely like a worship conference worship leader kind of thing, where I'm able to lead a whole crowd in an experience, in truth, and maybe say or pray or whatever in the middle of it, and affect people all together as a group.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop you there. So that's great. So you identified a thing, right? This is a thing that I would do. When you picture that crowd, who ideally would you want in that crowd?
I guess it wouldn't really matter to me.
Would they
Who?
be? Would they be young people, teens? Would they be older people? Would they be women? Would they be if you could gather a group?
I don't think.
Don't care about that part.
No, I don't think. That's kind of part of who I am too. I cross all racial and economical and background lines because I see past all that and I just see the person as a person and not who you are because
So you're
a drug addict or you have tattoos. Or,
right. You would be just as excited about leading worship in front of children as
Which
you
I do.
would teens, a nursing home, a conference of
Right.
pastors, anywhere.
Right.
Okay.
I do currently lead for kids, but also
Okay.
for the
Cool.
sanctuary.
Cool.
church.
And then, so that's a who. You got a what. You got a who, a where. You think you would primarily focus that energy here in the United States, or given unlimited time, money, and resources? No, I'd take my worship leading here. Like, where would you go with it? You mentioned conferences. Mm-hmm. So that I could assume that's here in the United States. But is there one area that would get you excited more than the other?
Israel.
Okay.
That would get me excited. I don't
Mainly
know.
because
I've
you want
never-
to visit Israel, or
Well, I've been to Israel,
okay.
but I love Hebrew, love the Jewish people and all that stuff, and so that's definitely like if you were to say, do you feel called to another nation? It would be Israel for my husband and I, but I don't know. We've got a lot of kind of prophetic stuff in the work of all around the world, but I really have no idea.
Okay.
I've never really thought that far.
That's okay.
But-
That's all right. You can't fail this.
But
Right?
yes.
Yeah.
What about, is it helpful to think about the why? Like you have people who want to establish houses of prayer, others tied to social justice movements, others wanting to help people reconnect with God, or like non-traditional worship forms. Is there anything that like makes yours, I don't know, yours?
I guess like an innocence and reality in worship to come back again, because I think we've kind of made worship this big show and this big experience, and then people think that that's what they should always be feeling or experiencing to be able to experience God or experience worship. But just the reality and I don't know, like being able to connect in the moment with however you are and not needing for some smoke machine to suddenly put you into heaven, bringing it back down to earth, and being able to speak to any crowd through that, because some crowds might not really like all the big production, and some crowds might like the big production, but I think any crowd can work with a realistic, intimate, like innocent kind of worship that is just not not like dignified and like I can't show who I really am, but like really being who you really are and being excited about who you are in front of other people, because that's really what makes people come alive, right? Like you want to follow the people who are excited about who they are or excited about what they're doing. You're not going to follow I almost said Joe Schmo. Sorry, Joe.
That's all right.
You're not going to follow
Not offended.
Bill Schmill over here
Yeah.
and who's not excited about what he's doing, because you don't want to follow that lack. You want to follow someone who's got something to give. And so,
No, totally.
so I've got something to give.
Somebody's been there. No, and I think that helps to establish like what makes yours or yours unique.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's some people who are trying to blow it out with laser lights and pyrotechnics and want to create that atmosphere, and it's super high energy.
Yeah. So when you identify a passion, and for those that are listening, this is why we're asking these questions. There's strategy behind it all. So when you identify a passion and you're identifying a what, and then you're thinking about the who and the where, the why, as Zach's pointing out, you're building a foundation to create a purpose statement, which we'll get to in the next episode. But these questions help set that up. So give us one more passion real quick. Unlimited time, money, resources. What else? What else comes to your mind? Something you would do?
What was the other one I wrote down? Facilitating classes on
Okay.
like Bible doctrine or like we did the commission class, those kinds of classes, like purpose project stuff, where they really dig into who they are and become excited about who they are, and through that become excited about who God is. Foundational stuff and whatever you would call above foundational, like supportive stuff.
That's good. So right there, we got the what, class. I teach classes, to who, people that want to grow in their Christian faith. Why? Right? Because you want to see them be able to have that solid foundation and kind of connect the dots and get excited about what they believe. And the where, I'm assuming, like the worship leading, maybe doesn't matter as much to you. There's not a particular group you have in mind when you think about these classes, just churches, Christians, anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyone who's at that level.
Good.
Whatever level the class is offering.
Awesome. So here's what we're going to do the way we wrap up this part of it is we're now zooming out onto everything that we have discussed in now 6 episodes, and we're looking at like themes, core strengths, right? And we kind of started there because I asked you some of the things that you really like about you. And I'm going to share a couple of things that maybe I've noticed, and Zach, anything that you've noticed, chime in here. But there's 3 things that, as I look at your talents, your life experiences, the words you use to describe yourself, your personality type, and now your passions, there's some themes, like ideas that keep popping back up over and over and again. And so one of them is this idea, and there's so many different ways to put it, and I didn't know how to put it, but I thought of like the people's champ. Was that Muhammad Ali? Like, who was the people's champ? It was a boxer, wasn't it?
No, it was Paul Wall.
Paul Wall?
He's a
Who
rapper.
was Paul Wall?
The people's champ.
No. Seriously, who
Cut
was
to
it?
the music video.
Who was it?
You did it to yourself.
Who's Paul Wall?
The cameraman is nodding.
Is Paul Wall? Who is Paul Wall?
He's a rapper.
And that's where he got he stole it from somebody.
He just has one line. I don't know. It just says Paul Wall, the people's champ. 281-380-8004.
Okay, no.
No? I don't
He
know.
stole it from someone else, and clearly we're ignorant, and so someone is going to correct us on this.
I hope so.
But the people's
Comment below if you know who Paul.
the people's champion, all right?
But we don't know who it is. So
It's you. It's you, because that's what comes to mind. Because I'm looking at
knew
a
it.
spiritual gift of exhortation. I'm looking at the way that you're thinking about collaboration, unity. I'm looking at your personality type, and how it likes to kind of bring things together. One of the words you used to describe yourself was inclusive. Back to your life experiences. Well, I'm banging the table here. Sorry about that. One of your life experiences we're talking about. How you were kind of that almost that glue for your family during rough times. You lighten the load a little bit, when things were difficult. So, what I see in you, and especially in these passions, in wanting to give to others, it's I see a champion, I see a mentor, I see someone who is excited to invest in people. But that's only one thing I see. So here's the other thing that comes to me is this gift of hospitality. It's an environment. You talk about personalizing things for people, and that to me shows that you're really using your gifts of being able to brainstorm and be a critical thinker, strategic thinker, original, creative, to think about ways that you can make others feel comfortable, right? Not just being a cheerleader, a champion of others, but a way that they actually feel safe at home, a great gift of hospitality. And the reason I said creating an environment that does that for people is because of the creative design element that I see specifically in a lot of your personality type in ENTP, being an excellent brainstormer, very knowledgeable about a lot of different areas, being able to piece that knowledge together to build something creative for people, and so put those together. I summarize it as a core strength I see in you of being able to create environments that connect people. Now, that in and of itself is a broad kind of stroke. It could be a lot of things. Mm-hmm. But whatever it is you choose to invest in, it's a good question to ask yourself is, am I able, in what I'm currently doing, to create an environment that connects people? How am I doing that? Those are some of again, core strengths that jump out to me. I don't know, Zach, if there's any words that have come to your mind or thoughts,
No, I mean,
outside opinion here.
So we've kind of seen it all throughout your history, but like a gift of empathy, being able to care and be a good friend to others through all sorts of things, directly tied to honesty, like being willing to say the difficult things, which is a part of finding that treasure, like treating it like treasure, like, hey, don't just go rolling around in the, you're a jewel. And then also like the extroverted side, like being willing to get in front of these environments and speak and lead, I think is a really, really cool thing. Yeah. So the people's champ, like a lot of people would think who the people have chosen, like that topmost position, but you're actually like the champion of people, which I think is that biblical example of leadership. And I think it's super cool. Super excited for that. I mean, to atmospheres and environments, everything you were talking about is investing in people and on a large scale, like with worship or with these classes. But I think you do that one-to-one also, just through personal memos. But it's all about investing in people. And that's encouraging, but it's also being willing to have those hard conversations when you need to have those hard conversations.
Yeah. So, Rayna, what you've done at this point is something that very few people on this planet ever do. And that's really taking time to study your unique design in pieces, to actually give it thought and brainstorming power. And now what you've done already, you've moved to the next step. And then this next episode, we're going to start to put these pieces together to craft purpose statements. And a purpose statement is just what it sounds like. It's, what do I do with my design? What are some things I can do? And it's going to answer the who, the what, the why, and we're going to help you write a couple of purpose statements, which we've gotten a draft of. And then we're going to go through a process of helping you choose. How do you know when there's multiple things that you could excel at and be great at that could meet a need in this world? How do you know which one to go after if you can't go after all of them? That's what we're going to start to hone in on next. So, sounds good? Yeah?
Sweet.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks for not springing anything else on me.
Hey, we made it through an episode and we didn't talk about poop or anything like that.
So close.